Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Fifth Quarter Podcast. I am your host, Devin, joined by my co-host, Jaden, and I'm hoping everyone is having a wonderful Monday. I know at the time of us recording this Saturday, I've had a pretty good Saturday. Got up early, had a good breakfast, went on a run, went to go watch my cousin's boxing match, had something nice to eat afterwards. So I'm feeling good. Feeling good going into this recording, and I'm hyped. We got a lot of great things to go over. We got our top 10 quarterbacks. We're starting our top 10 rankings. We're going to have quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, edge rushers, and DBs throughout this offseason. So make sure your notifications are on, paying attention. We're going to have those coming out to you. We also got an agree or disagree segment, which is going to be something that we're regularly doing. We're going to have little topics like this come in and out of the episodes throughout the off seasons, agree or disagree, red pill, blue pill, things like that, fun, different segments, but still focused around football. And we also have something nice for off the field, which I'm also excited for. So make sure you stick around for that. But you guys know, before every single episode, we got to do pregame talk. If you're new, make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to rate us 5 stars. What do we got for pregame today?
Yeah, so today for pregame, I got, we all know Jeremiah Smith, right? We love Jeremiah Smith.
Yep.
If Jeremiah Smith was draft eligible for this upcoming draft, how high would you take him? Or how high do you think he would be taken? And here's the catch, though. You would have to wait for him to be real life draft eligible to play. So you'd have to wait for next season to play him.
Okay, so like similar to the NBA with a draft and stash type of thing.
Sure.
When they do that with prospects. That's interesting. That's a good question, because immediately I thought you were just going to go regular. Oh, you draft him this year. But that definitely, I want to pull up a mock draft just to I obviously have an idea of guys that are near the top, but I just want to see what people may be thinking. So in a mock draft like this, obviously he does not go number 1 100%. I think that is completely out the window. I think at the end of the day, there's a good quarterback prospect at the top of the list. I think it's hard. Even last year, I don't think the Titans take him over a Cam Ward, which Cam Ward, again, was a pretty good quarterback prospect, but a lot of people looked at that as a pretty weak quarterback class. I think you start talking at number 2. I mean, the Jets, there's obviously no other quarterbacks to take, and the Jets have a lot of holes that need to be filled. Pause on that. They could obviously look offensive line. They could look linebacker. They can look edge. They can look all these different positions. That's tough, man. I mean, the highest is obviously 2. I think the lowest is 4. Because I don't think when I look at the Cardinals could easily do it, but I think I really like the tackles in this class. Now, obviously, I mean, Jeremiah Smith is a once in a generation type talent. I mean, this dude is an absolute freak. I think the lowest he would go is 4. I think the Titans having Cam Ward as their franchise quarterback, I think when you look at that and you have the ability to pair him up with Jeremiah Smith. Now, this doesn't include whichever team takes him, they still have their first round pick next year, right? It's not a thing where they would lose that. They would still have that. Oh yeah, I think I'd put him at 4. I think you could have a real conversation with him at number 2 to the Jets, but I think the Jets have a lot of other pressing needs, and obviously they don't have a quarterback to throw him the football. I think it wouldn't be wise for them to do that. And similar with the Cardinals, I think the Cardinals have a lot of positions that just need to be filled and a more desire needs than a receiver. But I think the Titans is a really good fit. I think my answer would be 4. I think if he went in this year's draft and it was a draft and stash scenario where you draft him and you have to wait a year, I think he goes 4. I think
Let's
he goes
say
4.
the Titans pass on him. How further do you think he would drop?
I think it would continue to stop. I think it stops at the Giants. If the Giants don't take him, I think it. Do I think it stops at the Browns? I think it might. I think it's one of those things where it's like now we're too far to pass up on the talent. Because I think next year, Jeremiah Smith is without a doubt, I think, top 3 pick. And I think once you start getting here, in this year's draft, 6, 7, 8, 9, it's like it's too far. Because he certainly wouldn't go past the Commanders, certainly not the Saints, certainly not the Chiefs. Like there's no chance in the world he would get past those 3 teams. And again, the Giants with the same route. I mean, these are back-to-back teams with the Titans and Giants who both believe they have their quarterback of the future. And if you can get a guy that's fucking Megatron Jr. on your team, it's almost a no-brainer, even if you have to wait a year, even if you're not, I was almost going to say throwing away a first-round pick. It's just essentially you're not getting a first-round. You're forfeiting your first-round pick this year to have a chance at him. But at the same time,
let's say you forfeit next year's pick too.
I was going to say, because that's why I asked that, because I felt like it makes it very strong. So you're just giving up this year's first for a guaranteed Jeremiah Smith. I think so, man. I think the Titans and Giants would both do that, because I think there are certainly, this is obviously not the greatest draft in the world. It's not a super strong. I think it's a depthy class, but I just don't think it's, you don't have, 10 blue chip, can't miss, elite prospects. I think there's a lot of players with question marks. There's a lot, like even like the edges and the tackles. It's not all like for sure hits like we've had in the past few years. So I think if you have a guy like Jeremiah Smith on the board who is, I think, a for sure 1,000% hit, a guy who's going to be an all-pro in this league, I just can't see the Titans and Giants passing up on him. And again, I think it's a real conversation he can go at too. I think he really could. I just think it's tough for me to, believe in that when the Jets don't have any type of direction at quarterback. And especially if you're going to say now they eliminate their first round pick next year, now you'd be looking at, 2 full seasons without any direction at quarterback. And then that third season, you would hope to be picking at the top and get a prospect or a quarterback at the top, So I think 4. I think 4 is where I would have him selected. If I was the GM of the Titans, and he fell to 4, it's not even a question. But if I'm the GM of these other teams, it's up in the air.
But this is you putting yourself in their shoes. Mm-hmm. Do you think this is how it would play out in real life, though? For sure.
It's tough.
Don't you think, though, like that's like a bit of a risk, like, the unknown of what could potentially happen with him, like,
Yeah, it could. I think
injury. Things like that.
If I have to look at it from a true GM owner standpoint, it does bring a question mark to me. But it's still like, man, it's really hard to just see a world where he would fall past either of those 2 teams. And if he were to, let's say both of those teams did, again, I think there's a 3-team stretch here where they wouldn't care about losing a first round pick. The Washington Commanders believe Jaden Daniels obviously is a superstar when healthy. You go get him a weapon. Saints with Tyler Shuck, and their receiving room is awful outside of Olave. And then the Chiefs is like a no-brainer. It wouldn't even be a question mark, especially considering that Mahomes is probably going to miss a big portion of next year. And when you can bring him back fully healthy in 2 years, along with Jeremiah Smith, that's ridiculous. That wouldn't even be fair. That'd be a Tom Brady, Randy Moss 2.0 potentially. But I think if you have that mindset with 4 and 5, I can understand it, because these are 2 teams that do have a lot of pressing needs, and to basically use 2 first-round picks on a receiver is, a scary thing when you could go with either of these 2. You could go, edge, linebacker, or whatever, plus something else next year. Or I mean, hell, one of these teams could take, a Jordan Tyson or a Carnell Tate, and then next year double up on a tackle or an edge or something like that. And then it's like, would you rather have Jordan Tyson and this prospect or Jeremiah Smith? And I mean, if you said Jeremiah Smith, I wouldn't blame you, and I'd probably agree. But yeah, I think it's tough. I think, again, if I'm the GM owner, I'm doing it at 4. If I do have to factor in their mindset, I could definitely see these two teams passing on it. But as I said, I think 7 is where that line ends. Even looking at it from a GM owner's standpoint, from their mindset, I think 7 is where it ends. That's where the run ends. I think Washington would trade 2 first-round picks to get Jeremiah Smith, essentially. Or
do you think the Rams would do it?
Trade 1. See, that's tough. Now this is also interesting with them because they have 2 first-round picks this year alone. How would we tackle that?
They lose that one.
They just lose the pick that they would select him with, essentially. They would lose 13.
Yeah, and they draft James Pierce last year.
Okay. No, you can't get off of that pick. You cannot get off of that pick. They would keep 29 though.
Yeah, but let's make it 32. Let's make it less valuable.
Yeah, sure. They swap with the Seahawks, which isn't that crazy. Would they do it? I'm gonna say no, because I think next year is Stafford's last year 100%. And I know that obviously the Rams have historically not had a lot of first round picks, during the late 2010s and early 2020s. They've been known for a team to not have them. And when they have 2 like this year, and obviously they have their pick next year in a loaded 2027 class, I think they need all that help when they're going to go not into a rebuild, but they're not going to know where their quarterback direction is. And, under Sean McVay, you could really have anybody out there that, as long as they're a competent quarterback, it's going to work. But I don't think the Rams would do it. I don't think they would, personally.
All right. That's all I had.
But yeah, that was good. That was a great conversation to put it. Now, obviously, you asked me, where would you if you were these GMs, what would be the highest you take him and the lowest you would take him?
See, I don't know if I was the GM or if I.
Let's
look at it like real life.
Let's say we'll do one where you're basically the GM of all these teams. You're the GM for the Raiders right now. Do you go Mendoza or Jeremiah Smith? I think you go Mendoza. Okay. You're the GM of the Jets now. Would you go any other position or Jeremiah Smith? Like that. Factor it in like that. That's how your mindset is.
I'd probably, the first team I would take him with, probably, I guess, maybe the Giants. I could see the Titans. Yeah. I'd say probably around the range where you were saying the first team to take him.
Mm-hmm.
And the lowest I could see him falling.
I think it'd have to be 9. And I mean, in my opinion, it's 7. But if you believe there's a world where the Commanders or Saints don't take him, I think 9 is where it ends.
If it was real, like if I'm looking like what I think would really happen, I think I could see it to like maybe even the Ravens.
Really?
Like real, I don't know. I just don't feel like GMs take risks like that. Like that's just like, obviously it's not really a risk, but it's like you're drafting a player that you asked to play another year of football, and you're drafting him like 2 years early, and he cannot play for you. I don't know. I just feel like
it's only a year, but I
a
think
year.
But again, if you were to have said you make him draft eligible this year, I think there's a real argument for him to go 2. So I don't think.
But that's the point, though.
It.
But he's playing for you immediately.
Yeah,
he's got to play for another team for a whole year. Put all that wear and tear. I mean, we see it happen all the time. People are projected high, and obviously this is a little bit different. He's like a generational prospect, but I mean, players drop in the draft off their play from that season, like a mock, a season earlier, beginning of the season, and their draft stock plummets. They don't have that great of a year, or they could, get injured. You just never really know. I just don't know if GMs take a risk like that. I don't know. I just feel like that's kind of a big risk. That's why I think the lowest may be the Ravens. But, yeah, I don't know. Probably around where you were saying is more realistic.
That's fair.
Maybe what I would do. But, yeah, because I think the bad teams are the ones that would do it. The teams that want to win now probably are less likely.
Yeah. I think that's the only reason why I think 9 is where I stop with the Chiefs, because I don't think they believe they're going to win next year. I think that it's just not smart to try to rush Mahomes back if he's not 100% by game, like even start to season or game 4, whatever, 3, 4, 5. I just think you continue to let him sit. Sure, you could bring him in halfway if you want, but I mean, I don't know. I think 9 would be my lowest, honestly, but that's great conversation to start us out. Now we got 2 more topics that we want to get to before we get into anything off the field related. And I think we're going to start with agree or disagree. We're going to save our top 10 quarterbacks for next, right before that. And yeah, let's get into it. So this is going to be agree or disagree. Me and Jaden both brought 3 questions, 2 NFL related and 1 non-NFL related. We're going to, oppose the question, ask the question, and on the count of 3, we're both going to say agree or disagree and then give our thoughts around the question. A pretty simple, platform, a segment that I got from the Escape Pod. Shout out to them. Been listening to them a ton there. A great listen. So kind of some inspiration from them. But I'll go ahead and start it out. And this one, I'm going to try to word this the best I can because it's a little bit of a loaded question, but I really like this question. Agree or disagree with how successful drafting first-round wide receivers have been in recent years? They should be looked at in the same boat as running backs as far as the draft. Keep for 5 years, let go, and then repeat. So obviously, the cliche with running backs. You draft a running back in the first round, play out their rookie contract, 5th-year option, let them go, and then repeat in the draft. Wide receivers, with how successful they've been, wide receivers should be looked at in the same vein. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Disagree.
Yeah.
I just think wide receivers don't get put, enough wear and tear on their body to just let them go like that. Like, they can still be great well into their, late 20s, early 30s. I think it's just a different situation with running backs. Because a running back is only as I wouldn't say that, but most of the time, like, their success relies on how good their team is, how good their offensive line is.
Yeah.
And, I think a receiver can be amazing on a bad team. It's kind of not always, it's not a one-on-one necessarily, but even a one-on-two, they can, do what they have to do.
Yeah.
Being bracketed, they could, if they're that great, it doesn't matter. But if your line is that bad, it's really not much a running back can do.
Yeah. I remember hearing somebody say, and it's obvious, it's a great point, but they said your O-line sets your floor and your running back sets your ceiling. So if you have a terrible offensive line and an amazing running back, you're not going to go far. If you have an amazing offensive line and a bad running back, you can do some damage. And if you have an average offensive line and an elite offensive running back or elite running back, you're going to be able to do a lot of
defensive running back.
No, you're going to do a lot of great things. So yeah, I agree. The reason why I brought this question up was I was obviously thinking of questions for this segment, and this one popped into my mind because obviously we've seen a lot of young receivers come into the league and be successful immediately. Now, I partially agree with this, and this is what I mean by that. I don't agree with flat out, if you draft a receiver and he's great, you only keep him for 5 years and get rid of him, right? Like, I'm not saying the Vikings should get rid of Justin Jefferson, Bengals get rid of Jamar Chase, anything like that. But what I do agree with is wide receivers twos, like wide receiver twos. I don't think the Bengals should have gave T. Higgins an extension. I don't think a team like the Eagles should have gave Devontae Smith. I think with how successful young receivers, and not how easy it is, because you have a lot of teams that just flat out miss. But with the amount of talent that comes into the league, I just don't think it's smart paying two receivers top dollar. I think you can easily replace receivers in the draft, and especially if you're, accounting for them playing for your team for 4 or potentially 5 years, I think you get a lot of value out of that. And then you can find a ton. I mean, not even just in the first round. Find a ton of value in the second, in the third round. I mean, even with Puka Nacua, who was, I think a 5th round pick. I mean, obviously that's more difficult. You're not finding those every single day, but you get a lot of good receivers that come out of the second round and even into the third. So I don't agree with this, obviously, like just straight up that you should just draft first round wide receivers. Like, I'm not saying the Bucs get rid of a Mecca in 5 years, or the Panthers get rid of Tet, but as far as like their 2s and 3s, I just don't know if it's worth paying these guys top dollar when I think you can easily replace them in the draft. So as far as that standpoint, I agree with it on that. But yeah, overall, I do disagree. But I thought it would be good conversation, which it was. So what's your first one you got?
All right, first one I got. Rings only matter at most for about 20% of a player's legacy in the NFL. 3, 2. All right, let me give you time to think.
Okay, yeah, give me a second. I wanted to think it over just real quick. Okay, repeat
Rings
your question one more time.
Rings only matter for a player's. Oh, okay, I forgot how I worded this.
No, you're good.
Rings only matter no more than 20% of a player's legacy. They only impact no more than 20% of a player's legacy.
Okay.
Across all positions.
So you're saying that it doesn't affect 25% of their legacy. You're saying 20 is the max.
20 at most.
Okay. Okay. I think I got mine ready.
3, 2, 1. Agree.
Disagree. I think.
Wait, what did you say?
I said disagree.
All right.
I'll let. Do you want me to go first, or how do
you go first?
It was your question, yeah. So I'll go first. I say disagree because the question was, it only impacts it up to 20%, so it wouldn't affect it any more than that.
I'd say the 20% probably for quarterbacks. I think it affects them the most.
I think when you look at examples around the league, I mean, you look at quarterbacks like, for example, Matthew Stafford, who was notoriously looked at as he was a solid quarterback in Detroit in a really rough situation. He goes to the Rams, immediately wins a Super Bowl, And his legacy just flipped upside down on itself, where it goes from this guy's just going to be remembered as a guy with a really strong arm and was able to play with Calvin Johnson and ultimately just played for a bad team. And it immediately flips where he goes into Hall of Fame conversations. And then you have things where it's like Aaron Rodgers, where Aaron Rodgers' biggest knack on his career is him only having one Super Bowl. And obviously, I think in that instance, it's a weird one because I think it obviously does affect his legacy, but it also doesn't, because everyone knows how gifted of a talent he is. I mean, he's probably the best thrower of the football, most gifted thrower of the football we've ever seen. But it's still a stain where it's like, I think a lot of people would take Mahomes over him already because Mahomes has the rings. Mahomes' rings are his legacy.
But they also have the crazy stats and MVPs and all-pros. Stafford never had none of that. Stafford has the stats, the accounting stats, and that's what kind of kept him up there. But he doesn't have like the MVPs that they have, the overwhelming numbers that they have. So he kind of needed that Super Bowl.
And again, I think that's why I would have.
But that's what I'm saying. Like his stats, I'd say the stats for Stafford just over his career. If you just look at his stats, I think that's about, you know, if we're going to like 100% for a Hall of Fame, I'd say his stats probably that puts him about like 35-40%. You agree with that? No? Counting stats, overall stats, touchdowns, yards.
Yeah, maybe a little bit higher just because of how long he's played and he's had.
And then you add a Super Bowl to that, 20%. That puts him at, you know, 65, 70. And that's inching him closer to the Hall of Fame. If you look at it in that type of light. Whereas those guys like MVPs and all that stuff, that I think I don't think that this question, I should have maybe worded it as should it maybe count as 20%? Like, should it not affect their legacy? I mean, I don't think it really does to begin with. Like other players, it's really other than quarterbacks. Like quarterbacks, the rings matter the most for everybody.
Yeah, right.
If you're not a quarterback, people really don't care that much. But maybe like should they matter more? Is a better question.
I think the biggest, I think rings. I think the weight that it carries, I think is fine. I think it's not too heavy, it's not too low. But I think the big one person that just popped into my mind, that I can use as an example for this is obviously you're looking at it as a percentage. You know, you were saying Stafford's like what, 40-ish%, 45. Then you add the ring, which is 20%, whatever. If you look at a guy like Eli Manning, where he has his 2 rings, and that's a heavy portion, that is like the only reason. I mean, he's on graphics where it's like the Hall of Fame ballot for, I can't remember if it was this past year or it's going into next year, where he's eligible for the Hall of Fame. And it's like he's only in that because of the rings. And that just shows you how much they matter, because you can look at his counting stats and it's not, he obviously played for a long time, but it's not pretty, man. Eli was never a consensus top 5 guy. He had some times in there where you could look at him as a top 10 or whatever, but it wasn't consistent. And I think that just shows how much rings matter. I think it's
the rings, and it's also the name. Like, sure, he wasn't like, you know, his brother, but he was good enough to put him in those conversations. Like 4,000 yards all these years, you know, 30 touchdowns a couple of times, almost 400 total touchdowns. Sure, he has a lot of interceptions, but the 2 Super Bowl rings, that you know, I'm not saying it shouldn't affect your legacy, but it does. And it's also who those rings were against and the moments he had in those games that I feel like way heavier.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if, I mean, if you want me, I don't even know if he is a Hall of Famer. But
yeah, I don't. It's a tough one, but Yeah, I don't know. I think rings ultimately do
More,
affect.
you think they higher
I
than
I think
20%?
yeah, I think it affects it a lot more because I think if Allen and Lamar end up ringless, I think they're obviously still going to be Hall of Famers, but it's going to be tough to put them higher than a lot of people with rings. And it's like, let's say you give Aaron Rodgers 3 Super Bowl rings. I think Mahomes could win 5, and there would still be a lot of people that wouldn't have him over Rodgers because it's a combo of both his stats and rings, but his rings affect it that much. There's people, I mean, like myself, who I think Mahomes is the second greatest quarterback to ever play this game over a Rodgers because he only has the 1 ring, because that's how much it affects it. And if he were to have a more decorated, collection outside of the MVPs, it wouldn't even be a question for me. And obviously, we look at, I mean, Tom Brady's an anomaly. The 7, that's not even a conversation. That's just ridiculous to even think that someone has that many. But yeah, I don't know. I do. I think it affects it a lot more than 20. That's just that's my stance on it. My next, I'll move on to my next one, and this one's a fun one. This is one that I thought of and I really like. Agree or disagree? Justin Herbert on the Vikings makes them a top 2 team in the NFC. I'll repeat it just to give you a little bit more time to think. Agree or disagree? Justin Herbert on the Vikings makes them a top 2 team in the NFC. 3, 2, 1. Disagree.
Agree.
Agree. Okay. I'll let you go first, and then I'll weigh in on mine. Because you have the
I don't know.
Seahawks
I
and the
mean,
Rams.
the way I said
who are-
agree, I thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
A top 2, like,
Yeah, they would either be number 1 or number 2 in the NFC. Like going into next year, if you had to power rank the NFC, the Vikings with Justin Herbert at quarterback would be your number 1 or number 2 team.
yeah, I think I could see it. I wouldn't guarantee it, but I could see a world where that could happen. I mean, the offense they have, the weapons that would be at his disposal, a far better offense. I mean, any offensive line in the league would be far better than what he's playing with right now, or what he's playing with last year.
Yeah,
After
especially
all the injuries, when they're
considering the
healthy,
injuries, yeah.
when they're healthy, it would be a lot better. But yeah, because I mean, even I wouldn't say that they were. I mean, they won 11 games. He won 11 games with the Chargers last year, and he did one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the NFL, and he was still able to deliver. But that was also a great defense. The Vikings have a good defense. I don't know if their defense is that good.
Yeah, I don't think it's on par with the Chargers, but I think it's close considering Flores is.
I think their coaching is also probably better.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
100%.
Yeah, I think I think that could be a possibility.
Yeah,
them to be a top 2 seed.
And the big reason why I asked this, I obviously said disagree. I think that they would be my 3rd team. And one of the big reasons I brought this up. So it would be
agree then, because if they're the 3rd team, then it would be possible for them to be the second.
No, yeah, it would be possible, but I'm more so looking at it as like, oh yeah, I have them as a top 2 team. Like if we got the news right now, Justin Herbert got traded for J.J. McCarthy straight up, it would be like, oh yeah, I think they're an NFC championship team. They're going to be one of the last.
I wouldn't think
teams.
I would not immediately think that, no.
Yeah, but I
also wouldn't say disagree to the question.
Yeah, I think it's a whole thing where it's like, yeah, if this happens 100%, I could see them. There's a world where they could be the best team in the NFC for sure. But
I think it's more likely than not.
that they would be number one
or top 2.
Yeah, 100%, because I would have them as 3. But if it happened and I had to make a power ranking, I just could not put them over the Rams or the Seahawks going into the year. Me personally. And obviously I have them at 3, so there's a world where they could be top 2. But if you were to talk to me throughout the whole offseason, I would continue to be like, no, I got the Rams over them. I got the Super Bowl champs over them and the Seahawks. And back to what I was saying, where I was saying that the reason I brought this up, one of my agree or disagree questions was going, before I thought of this one, was going to be agree or disagree going into next year. The Rams should be the heavy favorite to win the Super Bowl. And I said that because obviously they're going to have the 2 first-round picks in this upcoming draft, which I think, I mean, we see the talent that's coming into the league as rookies and making such big impacts. I mean, we saw it on the Super Bowl team with Nick Eamon-Worry and Gray Zabel. It's like you give the Rams, 2 first-round picks. I could see this team walking into next year, and I mean, they got solely Super Bowl on their mind. And obviously they should be even without that, but I really like the Rams next year, and I think it's tough to put them over the Super Bowl champs considering how good their defense is. And something that you also got to account for, no matter how talented I think a guy is, I mean, Herbert does have some rough woes in the playoffs, so I have to account for that. Obviously, he's walking into an incredibly better situation, but I don't know. I think I would have to see it first to automatically make that, assumption, but I would put them at 3. I don't think they would be top 2 with Herbert just yet, but I could obviously easily see it happening. But if I had to make my predictions, my power rankings, I would have them at 3 in the NFC going into next year. All right. And what is your next NFL one you got?
There are at least 15 different quarterbacks that could have won the Seahawks the Super Bowl. Just that one game against the Patriots.
15. So you're not saying one, like if they were their starting quarterback to start, you're saying
no,
that
just that
game.
That game. Okay. I don't think there are 15 quarterbacks that could have won that Rams game.
Okay. So you're just saying that. Okay. Agree or disagree, were there 15 that could have won that Super Bowl game? Okay. I got my answer.
3, 2, 1.
Agree.
Disagree.
Okay. I'll start it out.
Really just be Oh, go ahead. Go.
Just because it's your question. I know you got it amped up, so I'll just start out with my quick one before you go. Sam Darnold is obviously a great quarterback, a really good one, but in the Super Bowl, it's safe to say he played a bad game. It's not crazy. Obviously, he won. He's a Super Bowl champion. He did not play a particularly great game, and not even a good game. And obviously, you give praise to the Patriots defense. They played really well. They played well throughout the playoffs, and the Seahawks were obviously their toughest task, and they stepped up to the plate and answered that call. So when I look at it from that standpoint, the fact that Darnold did not look great, and especially on those first few throws, I mean, he was close to throwing an interception on that first drive. I mean, I even saw a tweet, which I was like thinking in my head, they were like, oh yeah, Darnold's throwing an interception this game for sure. Because there were just a lot of tight window throws he was making, which is impressive, but still scary. And we know Darnold sometimes has a tendency to kind of panic in the pocket and throw some really questionable balls. But when you look at the fact that their first touchdown came in the fourth quarter, and the fact that, Kenneth Walker had such a great game and was really giving them life, moving them down the field. And obviously Clint Kubiak is such a great offensive play caller. I think I can just name some: Drake May, Matthew Stafford, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar, Jaden Daniels, Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, Baker Mayfield, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. Like I think you put any of those guys on the Seahawks team on that specific game, and I think they can win it. I think they could. I think when the fact that how great that Seahawks defense is, and the Patriots throughout, it was before their first points of the game, which came in the fourth quarter, they did not get the ball past the 43-yard line. They did not even get into field goal range until the fourth quarter. So I would be hard pressed to not say that 15 or more quarterbacks could have won that game. I get it. It's not a knock on Darnold. It's more so a praise on Seattle's defense, but I think so. I think 15 or more quarterbacks could win it. Maybe I'm tripping, but that's my standpoint. So I'm gonna stand on that.
I think it's. I mean, I just said a random number. I didn't actually count when I made that question, but as I did, I think it's close. I think I got to like 13 or 14 that I'm confident. Like a name I know you said in there that I'm not confident is Baker Mayfield. I'm not super confident that he would have won them that game. He played pretty awful in the back half of the season.
Yeah.
Here, I'll name the quarterbacks right now. We'll count. Jared Goff.
Yep.
Jordan Love. Brock Purdy. Dak Prescott. Caleb Williams.
Yeah, it's close because he's a guy that was up and down, and obviously his heroics at the end of games, I think, make people believe he's a lot better than what he played this year. But it's close. I'd give that. Like
I don't know. He plays kind of risky turnover because I think that's the main thing with the Seahawks. They didn't turn the ball over a lot. And that's one thing the Patriots defense was able to do a lot during the playoffs. Yeah. So that's an iffy one. We'll just keep him off for now. So I named 4. Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
Stafford.
Yep.
Lamar. We're not counting Mahomes.
I would just count. I mean, I get it. He's injured. I would still count him. I would still look at it as 15 quarterbacks in the league currently that I would say. So I would personally count Mahomes.
Well, if we're counting Mahomes, then I think we're at 15 then for me. Because then Herbert, Daniels, and Josh Allen.
Yep.
There's, Joe Burrow, and we could say Jalen Hurts. Yeah. That might be 17 now.
Yeah.
I might have missed some on my first take. Maybe I would have agreed.
It would be a lot, and that's more so a point of just how many talented quarterbacks we have in the league. That it's more so a knock. It's more so not a knock. It's a praise on that part. It's not a knock on Darnold, but I think it's okay to say that he didn't play a very good game, and we have a lot of good quarterbacks that I think could have played average and won the game, and some of these guys potentially could have played amazing and blown them out by even more. So yeah, I think so. Did you almost? I think you just flipped your.
Yeah, just because when I did the initial count, I counted less, but I counted more on this count. So
yeah, I feel it. Okay, my last one. This is non-NFL. As long as Beyond the Spider-Verse is a consensus 8 out of 10. It is the greatest superhero trilogy of all time. Beyond the Spider-Verse. Consensus, I'm going to say, you ask anybody, there's going to be potentially people that are higher on it, but I would say you specifically rated an 8 out of 10, and the consensus around the world is it's an 80%, 8 out of 10. Is it the greatest superhero trilogy of all time? 3, 2, 1. Agree. Yeah. I'll let you go.
I don't think there's anything that even comes close, though. Like, I don't think there's like any superhero trilogies that every movie is at least an 8 out of 10 or better.
Yeah, because I was gonna say the first two are closer to 10 out of 10s than 8 out of 10s, and then you finish it off. So if I'm gonna ask this two different ways. How low would this finale have to be for it to, like, if it's a 6.5 consensus out of 10, would it still be there? Or do you think because
Probably
it's the
not,
last
no.
one, because it's the finale, I think it hurts it the most?
Probably, yeah.
Because if it's like flipped and the first one is a 6.5 and the next two are 10 out of 10s, I think you could have the conversation. But yeah, I think if it's a 6. Now, keeping it at the 8 out of 10, do you think it would be in conversations, or do you think it would just flat out be the greatest just trilogy of all time, disregarding superhero shows or superhero movies?
It could be.
Yeah.
If it's an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
It could be. I don't know if it would, but it'd be in the conversation.
Let me just refresh, because as far as superhero movies, I could have some that come to mind. Let me look up best movie trilogies of all time.
Well, Lord of the Rings would be up there for sure. The first, the original Star Wars movies would be up there off the top of my head.
35 best trilogies of all time according to IMDb. So the Lord of the Rings is number 1. You then have The Godfather second, Star Wars, A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and then Return of the Jedi. And then you have the Dark Knight trilogy. You have, I'm not too familiar. Oh, these are some 1960 films. We're not getting into that. Some more older films. Yeah, you have like the Toy Story movies up here. Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, Before Midnight. Never heard of that. Three Colors trilogy. Never heard of that. Back to the Future's a good one, but it would be better. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this. I mean, I've never watched The Lord of the Rings. I've watched the first 2 Godfathers. I haven't watched the third one. I think it would be better than that. I haven't watched these Star Wars ones. I'm sure you have. You watched these? A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. Would it be above that for you? If Beyond is an 8 out of 10?
I mean, I think it would, maybe for me, but like I don't think consensus.
Yeah,
I don't think you could put it that high.
What about the Lord? Have you watched the Lord of the Ring ones?
Yeah.
Would it be above that?
I don't know if it'd be better than Lord of the Rings. Probably not.
Yeah, it would be close. The first one of Lord of the Rings is an 8.9 on IMDb. Second one is 8.8. Third one is 9. Would you agree with that? Third one's the best. First one's the second. Second one's the third.
Yeah, third one's for sure the best. Yeah. You said the second. The first one is the second.
Yeah, it goes 3, 1, 2.
I think that's the way most people rank them as well.
And it's all by 0.1, which is pretty funny. It's not like, oh, this is leaps and bounds above. Yeah, that's fair. I haven't watched the third Godfather is only a 7.5. The first one 9.2. Second one 9.0. I mean, The Godfather is one of the best. I still remember watching that so much at my dad's growing up. I probably watched that movie 3 times at my dad's growing up. But I think it would be in. Superheroes 100,000%. It's the best if it's an 8 out of 10 all time.
Isn't really also the highest IMDb movie only like a 9.2 or something?
Let's see. Highest
I'm pretty sure
rated movie on IMDb of all time.
Isn't like The Dark Knight?
It is. Let's see. Top 250 movies. Shawshank Redemption 9.3. The Dark Knight is 3. It goes Shawshank, Godfather, Dark Knight, Godfather Part 2, Angry Men, which I've heard a lot about, even though it's only made in 1957, which I did not know it was that old, but I've heard about that. Schindler's List is up here at number 7. Pulp Fiction, Forrest Gump, Fight Club, Inception. Yeah, 9.3. I'm not gonna lie, I did not know Godfather was number 2 though. I did not realize that. That is crazy. But yeah, I think for me, just because I've never watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy, I think it would be. I don't know if I would enjoy the Lord of the Rings trilogy more than the Spider-Verse one, but it would be close. It would be close. I would have to watch that to have a real opinion on it, but the Spider-Verse movies are just so fucking peak. I feel like it would be really hard to beat that. So you would agree on superhero part, but not necessarily on all time. That's where it would be up in the air. Okay. I can see that. I think I'm with you for now, just because I haven't watched the Lord of the Rings one yet. So I'm with you there. All right. What are you going to finish us out with before we get into these top 10?
Pancakes over waffles.
Okay. I got my answer ready.
3, 2, 1. Agree.
Yeah. I think there's a debate to be had about like your average pancake versus your average waffle. You could go waffles, but I think a peak pancake beats a peak waffle every day of the week. And I don't even think it's remotely close. I mean,
yeah.
That's just flat out a peak pancake, syrup, the butter on top. It doesn't get beat. It's impossible to beat it. I think that's tough to beat.
And something I've never even had is like those like dessert pancakes. Like crazy ass IHOP pancakes with all those crazy toppings.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I've never even had that, and that probably is fucking amazing. But I've never even had them. Like peanut butter, chocolate chips, syrup. Like,
yeah,
I've never even had those, and I'm sure like those would be insane.
No, for sure. Yeah, no, I definitely go pancakes though. I think even if you're giving me an average pancake versus an average waffle, I think I'm still going which waffles are still really good. I mean, I just had one the other day. Waffles are still peak, don't get me wrong. Eggos for sure, but pancakes are just so fucking goated, bro. It's tough to beat. It's tough to beat. So I'm going pancakes all day. And let's do it, man. I think what everyone's been waiting for, our top 10 quarterbacks. I'm nervous with this. There were some tough rankings that I had to make. There's 2 quarterbacks on here that were specifically very hard to arrange on the list. And I'm still not 100% confident that I like where I placed them, but I did it and I got to rock out with it. So I was thinking about doing our honorable mention, but I think that spoils it a little bit. I think it's better to just talk about it at the end, or once we get further enough, you'll just know that certain quarterbacks just flat out didn't make the list or whatnot. But do you want to start first, or you want me to go? How do you want to do this?
I'll start first.
Okay. Go ahead.
Number 1?
No, number 10. We'll start number 10 going up to number 1.
Fuck. Really?
Yeah. I think that's the best. We save the anticipation, go up to number 1.
I think it's more anticipating to go to 10 because people know what like the tops are. But all right, 10. I got Trevor Lawrence.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest. He was an honorable mention for me. He did not make my list, but I'll let you go.
All right. Do you want me to explain?
Yeah.
I have him at 10?
A little bit. Anything you got to go on?
I mean, yeah, I think this is the best year of his career. I think he really, put it together and, got his accuracy up, which was one of the main concerns, throughout his career, was just he wasn't the most consistently accurate quarterback. And he's always had that, that crazy pocket, presence and being able to avoid sacks at a high rate. And I'm not sure what the numbers are this year, how many sacks he took, how many he didn't take, but I know the film, he's always been really good at avoiding sacks. And I think he did a lot on a team that didn't really have the greatest weapons, and he kind of, had players like, why am I blanking on his name? Parker Washington. Yes, I almost called him PJ Washington. I knew that was an NBA player, but yeah, he kind of allowed players like Parker Washington to bloom in a year where Brian Thomas had a real bad down year, and yeah, I think there's a couple other quarterbacks that could have made this spot, but I think Trevor Lawrence for me, made it.
It's a good one. My number 10, which this was one of the players that I was talking about, which felt like the hardest to rank, is Sam Darnold. I have the Super Bowl champion Sam Darnold at number 10. This is a guy that just won back-to-back, went back-to-back seasons with 14 wins, only the second quarterback to ever do that, joining Tom Brady. Sam Darnold, I think, is a good quarterback. I don't think he's elite. I don't think he's, top tier. But I think he's in that 12 to 8 range as far as quarterbacks. It just really depends on what you prefer. I think he's benefited off being back-to-back years in amazing systems with, number one wide receivers in the league. And, it's tough to get him any higher. And it's tough to put him really any lower. I think he's really just sandwiched into that spot. Like I said, like a 12 to 8 range, really anywhere in there. And I think he just fits in right in the middle of that for me at number 10. A guy with one of the better deep balls in the league and coming off an impressive postseason run where he led the league in interceptions or turnovers in the regular season. He threw 0 in the postseason. So got to tip my hat to that. Kudos to him. And yeah, Super Bowl champion Sam Darnold is at number 10 for me. Moving on to number 9. This was another guy that I was going back and forth with number 9 or number 8 on, but I ultimately went with Jared Goff at number 9. This is a guy that has the most passing touchdowns in the league since 2022, since 2023, and since 2024. And when you track back to those 3 years, he's got the most passing touchdowns since that time. A guy that just lets it rip. He's able to get everybody on the field involved. And even though he is another guy that I think has benefited off being in a really good system with really good weapons and a great offensive line, I can't take away from what he's doing over there in Detroit and giving that, city some light. So Jared Goff falls at number 9 for me.
My number 9 is Jaden Daniels. I think he didn't play a whole lot this year. He was hurt a lot. But I don't think he's far off from, being the same quarterback he was his rookie season. I think in his rookie season, he was a consensus top 10 quarterback. I think he's going to be better next year. And, Jaden Daniels at my 9.
That's a good point. I'll let you move on.
My 8. And my 8, 7, and 6 can really all be switched around. My 8, I ended up going with Justin Herbert. People know how good Herbert is. I think he is one of the best in the league. Like I said, I think he could peak at like number 6 for me. The way my list went, I think these guys above him had better years. And, I went with Herbert at 8. I think we all know what he can do. I don't really need to say much. One of the best arms in the league. Did a lot on a team that didn't have much on the offensive side of the ball and, willed that team into the playoffs. And,
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's funny. Your first 2 quarterbacks, they both didn't make mine. I did not have Trevor Lawrence or Jaden Daniels on my list.
Goff didn't make mine either.
Yeah, they were tough. It's really like these first 3 or 4 quarterbacks that we're gonna say, and that's another thing that I forgot to mention. There's 15 quarterbacks you could really make an argument to be top 10. That's just how talented the league is today. But one thing we do match on is I also have Justin Herbert at 8. I won't touch on it too much because you just got into it. But the one thing I will say, I was a big Herbert guy, Herbert defender, as far as I still looked at him as a top 5, top 6 quarterback for a long time. But even though, he has all the excuses in the world with how his team has battled with injuries, bad play calling, bad weapons, whatever, it is tough to defend his playoff woes. I mean, in 3 games, an under 55% completion percentage, 13 sacks, fumbled 3 times, threw 4 interceptions, like 0-3 in those games. It's tough. It's tough. Obviously, you could look at a lot of different factors for that, but at the end of the day, that's on his resume, and it's tough to look past to put him over some certain players that are on this list. And I'll move up to my number 7. I have the man that was also in the Super Bowl, Drake May, as my 7th ranked quarterback in the league. A guy that just finished 2nd in MVP, very well could have won it. Didn't get my vote, but he very well could have, and obviously making the Super Bowl in his 2nd year. I was a guy that was very tough on Drake May throughout his playoff run, and rightfully so. He did not have a great one, but it's also very tough for a 2nd-year quarterback that didn't really have a great receiving room, didn't really have a great offensive line, to go up there and have maybe the toughest route that a team has ever played as far as defensively to a Super Bowl. I mean, the Chargers, the Texans, the Broncos, and the Seahawks, legitimately the top 4 defense in the league, maybe 4 of the top 5. And it's like historically great defenses that they're playing. So I give him a little bit of slack on that. It's like it's not solely on him for he did ultimately have like one of the worst playoff runs by a quarterback ever. I mean, you look at EPA per play, success rate, everything like that. It's the worst for a quarterback that played at least 3 games in a playoff run. So it's rough, but I mean, I can't look past the fact that he just finished 2nd in MVP in his 2nd year. I can't look past that, and I think he's going to grow a ton. I think as long as this Patriots offense improves, I think he'll be back to the Super Bowl and back to winning playoff games and ultimately back to being in the MVP conversation very, very soon. So Drake May falls at 7 for me.
At my number 7, I got Dak Prescott. And Dak Prescott has been, king of consistency, pretty much throughout his whole career. And, last year was no different. He didn't put up 5K passing yards. He put up in the 4Ks.
Yeah,
I don't know how close he was to 5K, but
he was close.
Yeah, I mean, Dak Prescott, what's there to say about him? Can do everything, a mobile quarterback, super uber accurate, great arm. Pickens gets traded to them, and Pickens has, one of the best receiver seasons in the league this year. It's no it's no coincidence that these receivers like CeeDee Lamb, Pickens have these great seasons with him at their quarterback, because he's consistently one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He knows how to get his best players the ball, and, great quarterback. My number 7. My number 6, I have Drake May. And these 6, 7, and 8, like I said, can be swapped in any order. For me, I had Drake May at 6. Mm-hmm. I kind of moved them around really all week, kind of. Like, I had Dak at 6, Herbert at 7, and May at 8. And looking at that, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I'm disrespecting May a little bit, because he had a great regular season. Playoffs weren't great. But, he played, like you already said, one of the toughest scheduled defenses you can play in the playoffs. And I don't think his coaching staff really did him, helped him really. I don't think his, offensive, personnel is that great. You go from position to position. Like, does he have a top 20 receiver in the league at any receiver? Does he have a top 20 running back in the league at running back, at any running back position? Does he have a top 10 offensive lineman at any position on the offensive line? Does he have a top 10 tight end? Like, he's he did a lot with a pretty mediocre offense, and he kind of did that all season, got to the playoffs, and that really showed up. Mm-hmm. And like I said, the offensive coaching staff didn't really help him out a whole lot, especially in the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I got Drake May at 6.
Yeah. And then this is another part where we're on similar paths. As you mentioned, your 6, 7, 8 can kind of go intertween. I have Dak Prescott at 6. We had the same quarterbacks in that low range there, but I had Dak and May flipped with you. And yeah, I did the same thing. I had Herbert. I had Herbert as low as 10, honestly, and I had him as high as like 7 when I was making my list. It was just so many things that I was just flip flopping, going back and forth between. But I ultimately ranked Dak as the highest quarterback out of this group. This is just a guy, I won't touch on it too long as Jaden got into, but I agree with him. One of the most consistent and underrated quarterbacks in the league. I mean, his last 3 healthy years look like this: 4,500 passing yards, 30 touchdowns; 4,500 passing yards, 36 touchdowns; just under 4,500 passing yards, 37 touchdowns. His last 3 healthy years. The year after that, he only played 12 games, and another year in there, he only played 8 games. So, I mean, if you give this guy a healthy season, he's a 4,500 passer, 30-plus touchdown guy. He's one of the last real conductor quarterbacks that we have in the league, a guy that just knows how to take over an offense and control it at the line of scrimmage. So Dak Prescott is a guy that I've always said I wish the Raiders had a Dak Prescott type quarterback out there. Like his mold of quarterback is just amazing. It's perfect in my eyes. Obviously, he has his woes in the playoffs, and people like to get on him and troll him because he plays for the Cowboys. But Dak Prescott is really the perfect mold of quarterback that you can have out there. Moving on to my number 5, I have Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is my number 5 quarterback. I have him outside the top 4, where a lot of people like to look at that consensus of, the big 4, the Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, Burrow. But I have Burrow just out there. A lot of that has to do with the fact that this guy can just simply not stay on the field. And I get it. It's a factor to his offensive line and things like that, taking sacks. But I do believe that not a lot, but it's about a 50-50 thing with his offensive line doesn't give him a lot of help. But I think Joe Burrow struggles a lot behind the pocket with pressure. It's a weird thing because he's also like one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen under pressure. But I think he puts himself in a lot of unfortunate places that doesn't help out his offensive line. So it's a 50-50 battle with them. And when Joe Burrow was healthy, he was great this year. I mean, last year, you know the numbers he put up: nearly 5K passing, 43 touchdowns, less than 10 or 40. 40. I thought I said 4,300 yards, 43 touchdowns, less than 10 interceptions. When the guy's healthy, he's a baller. But I cannot ignore the fact that 2 years ago, he only played 10 games, went 5-5, and this year he only played 8 games, and he was 5-3 in those games. So it's a thing that it's hard to look past with these injuries. You know what they say, the best ability is availability, and he's one of the worst quarterbacks when it comes to that. So as long as he can stay healthy, he's a consensus top 4 guy and potentially higher. Burrow ultimately ends up 5 for me.
My 5, I have a little different take. I got Stafford at my 5.
Yeah.
And, don't need to get much into Stafford. I think this is a little more projection than I have on any of the other ones. I don't think, obviously, his best years are not ahead of him. That's crazy to say because he just won his first MVP at 37. And he's top 5 quarterback on my list, top 5 in the league. I just think the guys above him are better quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And they're not in as good of situations as Stafford is in. I think you put any of these guys on the Rams, and I think they do just as good, if not better.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
Yeah, I think that's Stafford is at my 5, and at my 4, you can guess I got Burrow. Like you said, the availability stuff, that it definitely is a problem. But I mean, when he's healthy, statistically the most accurate quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
He's got that gold on Pro Football Reference, highest completion percentage for a quarterback ever.
Yeah.
For a career. And I think Joe Burrow is that tier 1.5 quarterback? Tier 1? Tier 1. I think Burrow and Stafford 1.5. for
I
me.
can see it from that
I
point.
think tier one, because I don't know. I don't know if I could put more than 3 quarterbacks in tier one. I feel like 3 is good
I can see it.
for tier one.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, he's close. If you think he's tier one, I don't have a problem with that. But yeah. That's my 4.
Yeah, and similar that we've had throughout this list, flip-flopping between us. I got Stafford at 4, right above Burrow. I think he's the second most gifted thrower of the football we've ever seen. And I'll keep on saying it. It's a shame that he spent so much of his career in Detroit staying loyal to that franchise that was a dumpster fire for so long. The fact that he has been with the Rams for, what was this, his 5th year now, maybe 4th year, and he's a Super Bowl champion and an MVP and was nearly to another Super Bowl with them. It's unfortunate that he spent so much time, because I think this is a guy that is starting to get in arguments of top 10 quarterbacks ever. And if he would have had 3 to 4 more years extra with this Ram team, I think he'd be a no-brainer up there. And a guy that just, man, I mean, year in and year out, you can count him out. I mean, going into this year, he had that injury where people thought he wouldn't look the same. I mean, I feel like people forgot that was a thing going into the season, that he had this injury where it's like, oh, I don't think he'll be able to come back. They were comparing it to other athletes that have the same injury and they don't look the same. And the dude just won MVP and nearly went to a Super Bowl, was a play or two away from going there. The guy's an absolute baller. Can make any throw in the book, makes it look effortless, and doing all this, by the way, with very, 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 very limited mobility. I mean, one of the last true pocket passers that we have in this league, and he's able to do what he does. So Stafford falls at my number 4. Moving into the top 3, it's going to be interesting to see where we fall with these. These guys were tough to rank. I really think you could flip-flop with all these guys, considering how weird of a year and really past 2 years it's been with these quarterbacks. I have Josh Allen at my number 3.
Wow.
Yep. I have Josh Allen as my number 3 quarterback in the league. This is a guy that is Superman with the football. There's not really a whole ton that I can say. I can sit here and pull up numbers and do this and that. We all know what type of quarterback Josh Allen is. We all know what he's done with not a ton of talent around him offensively. I think the most recent game that we saw from Josh Allen really pushed me to place him here. I think in a year where if Josh Allen goes out there, let's say he makes the Super Bowl and loses in a rough one to the Seahawks, I think Josh Allen is probably my number 1. And it's really tough for me to look at maybe his best, potentially only shot at a real Super Bowl with all of his competition out the window. And he goes out there and I can't remember if he threw 4 or if he had 4 turnovers. But one of the worst games in his career, considering how good he was and considering how stupid, I mean, almost all of his mistakes were. Obviously, the last one is a very big controversy type of call, but the fumble before the half, the interception after your defense, I think, got their own interception. It's something that rubbed me the wrong way. And I don't know. That's really what ultimately led me to put Allen here. I also don't believe he deserved MVP 2 years ago now over Allen. I really do think that was a pity award. I think it's so stupid how much the voters go back and forth with how they look at valuable versus best stats versus a combination. I don't know. Allen falls for me at 3. And based off your reaction, I can tell we don't agree. So let's move to your top 3.
Yeah, dude, fuck you. Seriously. My 3 is Mahomes.
Okay.
Not much to say about that. It's Mahomes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what do you want me to say? It's Mahomes.
Yeah.
My 2 is Lamar.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I can see it.
I don't
Yeah.
think I really have to make breakdowns for these players. This is
Yeah.
just the
Yeah.
order I put mine.
I feel it. And Allen is.
My
I mean,
one
we'll
is
move
Josh
to
Allen.
it. Allen is ultimately your one.
Yeah.
This was the toughest thing to do, was to rank these three quarterbacks. We agreed on one of these, which was Lamar at 2. I still have Patrick Mahomes as my number 1 quarterback, and it was a thing that was very I didn't know how to go about this. I applaud you for putting Mahomes at 3 because I didn't have the balls to do it. I didn't have the balls to do it because it was such a weird year for all of these guys. I mean, you look at 2 years ago where Lamar and Allen were tiers above Mahomes as far as the regular season. And then Mahomes doesn't care about any of that, goes out there and, Allen beats Lamar in the playoffs, Mahomes beats Allen in the playoffs, and goes to another Super Bowl, his 3rd straight. And then this year where Mahomes gets injured and it's like, oh, these guys can really take the step, Lamar also gets injured. And then Allen, with a chance to go win it all, has his worst game of his career, arguably. It was really, I didn't know what to do. So I just went with what my brain automatically told me to do. I put Lamar over Allen, and I kept Mahomes at 1. And that's ultimately where I ended up with. I don't know. That's just what I did. Now I see obviously why you went wow, because we certainly flip-flopped there. And yeah, I mean that's really all I got to say. I guess I'll ask you what ultimately led you to put Allen at 1 and Mahomes at 3. What is it the injury? What was your ultimate,
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
Race. No, I'm joking. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Yo, that's crazy.
I just think Josh Allen is less injury prone. I think he's just more. I don't think he's the most talented of the 3. I think you can just rely on him more. I think he's more reliable. And that's crazy because he just had, a stinker in the playoffs. But, I mean, Lamar's had some stinkers. I mean,
Yeah.
Mahomes just tore his ACL, though.
Yeah.
And I think that weighed in the most for me. I don't think any of them have had injuries like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I think it's more just he's more reliable than the other 2 right now.
Yeah.
In this moment.
Yeah. I feel it. And
So,
it was a conversation that we had going into this where it was like, do we even rank Mahomes with him going out with his injury and then potentially missing the start of next season? It was like, I don't even know if it's worth it to rank him. And obviously we ultimately did, which I think if we don't, it makes this list a lot easier, because I think this was one of the toughest parts.
It wouldn't feel right to not rank him.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's basically what it came down to. Was it just it felt weird to not include him. So, yeah, wow. That was a good list. I like both of our lists for different reasons, but yeah, those are our top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. We're gonna have that posted on the community league, put it on Twitter, everything. So let us know your guys' thoughts in the comments with that. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into our final thing, which is off the field. This is non-NFL related, and as you guys will get to know very quickly with this podcast, we enjoy movies, and specifically superhero movies. We watch a lot of them, so I guess it's going to tie in to the NFL. It's half and half. We're going to do a draft of offense and defense of building superhero NFL teams. So we're going to flip a coin live on the pod. I'm going to go to the internet, ask them to flip a coin. One of us is going to call it.
I thought you were going to actually flip a coin.
Yeah,
Makes this less cool.
I didn't prepare well enough. That's strike
I got
one
a coin
on me.
right here. All right, everybody, look at my camera.
No, but
All right,
yeah.
pick heads. It's heads.
All right, here you
I'm
go.
joking.
I'm gonna flip a coin. One of us is gonna. I'll let Jaden call it before I do it, and whatever lands on. If he wins, he gets to pick if he wants offense or defense. If I win, I do the same thing, and then we're gonna draft a team of superheroes to basically go against each other, and see which team would be better and which team would beat each other, basically. So yeah, let me go flip a coin. What do you got? Heads or tails?
Tails never fails.
Tails never fails, and I will be 100% truthful. I'll even show my thing. Yeah, it landed on tails. I'll even show the camera so they know I'm not bullshitting. There it is, tails. So what would you like?
Give me
Offense?
defense.
I wanted that, you sucker. Okay, so since you picked your thing, I will be drafting first. I think that makes it the most fair.
I won the coin toss.
And you got to choose offense or defense.
No.
But this is how it goes.
Joking,
This is
go
I was gonna ask, how do you want this draft to go? Do you want it to go 1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1, or does it go 1-1-2-1-2-1-2? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I go, then you draft back to back, then I draft back to back, or is it just we just go back and forth? I
think back and forth would be better.
Okay, so just one pick.
Just
each round.
schematically, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes the most sense. Okay, with my number one overall pick, and I guess let me emphasize this before we get onto this. Obviously, this is ridiculous, right? If you put any of these superheroes on a field, this is ridiculous. It would never work. How my mindset looked at it, it's almost like Madden with abilities and X factors, except they're superheroes.
Are we only going Marvel and DC, by the way?
I was thinking about flat out doing, fiction, but I thought superhero made it better. If you want, yeah, you can go different. If you have a superhero that's not Marvel or DC, which is pretty tough to do, but you can definitely do it. Yeah, you can go with that for sure if you can think of any. So I'm going to start with my first pick. As I mentioned, it's like Madden. These players have abilities and X factors depending on what their powers are. Number one overall pick at running back, I am going to go with Barry Allen, the Flash, as my running back for my number one overall pick. Lock it in. Let me mark that down as my my number one overall pick. Oh, Jaden's already got it for me. He's locked in. Okay, your number one overall pick. Who do you got?
My number one overall pick, I'm going to be picking Aaron Donald himself in superhero version, and that's the Hulk at defensive tackle.
Okay, you threw me for a loop, but that's a really good one. I had that marked. I'm not going to get into my whole defense because I really prepared for defense. Like, really, I obviously prepared for both, but I had 3 positions deep at every single one because I was so prepared for defense. But Hulk was on my defense. So that's a really good pick. My second overall pick, I'm going to almost counter you here because I don't want you getting this guy next to Hulk on defense. I have some other picks that I really like at, quarterback, receiver, something, but I'm going to take Thanos and I'm going to put him.
That's a superhero?
It's just a
I'm joking.
I was going to say, I don't know if I want to put him at tackle or Thanos. I'm just going to put him at tackle. He's a guy that's flexible. He can move around. He can get places, but I'm going to put Thanos at my first tackle. So
okay.
That's my second overall pick.
At my second overall pick, where do I go with this? Trying to think, who can I pick that you would use on offense, but what I think would do well for me on defense?
That's kind of
because I have a couple, but like I don't see where you would put them in on offense. So it's like, do I just sit on them or wait? I'm just gonna go now. Let's beef up the trenches. Give me the thing at D tackle too.
Yep. It's another guy that I had on my defense at defensive tackle. Okay. You got a great pairing down there as your two defensive tackles. So I can see where your direction is. You want to stop the run. I drafted the flash, and you said I need to stop the
inside.
run.
You ain't running up the middle.
Yeah. So I gotta draft some good tackles to block for these outside runs. My number 3 pick, my 3rd overall pick in the superhero draft. Man, I have so many. I feel like you're not going to draft some of the players on defense that I have marked, but at the end of this, I really want to go over and just talk about how many I had. I think I'm going to go. Now, this one is tough because there's 2 ways that I can go at quarterback. There's 2 players that I have marked down here. And one of them's a little bit fun. One of them's a little bit, boring. You could see it coming. Obviously, it makes sense. I'm going to go. F it. I'm going to go Tony Stark, Iron Man as my quarterback.
Yes.
My other pick, which I don't know if you could think of who I was going to go at quarterback, a guy with extreme accuracy. Yeah. Tony Stark, he's going to be, probably the smartest guy on the field at all times, potentially, depending on who you pick and who I pick.
How durable is Tony Stark?
In this world, we're gonna
being
imagine
a human.
He can build his pads, with Jarvis and make everything. His helmet's gonna have Jarvis in there telling him who's open, this and that, and he's gonna be able to build his pads and his knee pads and everything to take on that destruction that is coming at him. With Hulk.
Wearing that Hulkbuster. Hulkbuster.
He's gonna have something built up, but I think he's a guy that has, as I say, he's gonna be the smartest guy on the field at all times, and I think he's gonna be able to get the job done for me. So
that's cool.
Tony Stark, Iron Man, is gonna be my quarterback.
My strong safety.
Let's hear it.
Give me Clark Kent.
That's a good one. I didn't know where to put Superman. I didn't know where to go with him. It was a really...
I was almost going to put him at edge.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
Strong safety. He could play edge, though.
Yeah, he could.
I'm lining his ass up everywhere.
He can move around. You have the greatest nickel of all time. You have Nicky Manwari on steroids. Oh my gosh, that's
steroids.
A really good pick. Yeah, he's more like
let's say steroids made out of stars.
Yeah, the greatest that you could think of. All right, that's a really good pick. All right, I gotta hop in my bag here. Oh, this is tough. It's a really good fucking pick. I'm going to take my number 1 wide receiver because I think this is a guy that could play defense for you at potentially corner or safety. My number 1, we're looking at a Jamar Chase-esque type of receiver. Give me Silver Surfer as my number 1 wide receiver. Okay. A guy that is, incredibly fast. A guy that is incredibly nimble, a guy that's going to be gliding around the field, if you would. My number 1 wide receiver, give me Silver Surfer.
Okay. Now, this is a direct pick against your player.
Let's hear it.
At cornerback, Give me the stickiest man you can think of. Give me Spider-Man.
Oh my fucking God. That was
At
another
cornerback one.
receiver that I wanted. I wanted Peter Parker as my slot. God damn it. That's a really good pick. Oh man.
You ain't gonna be able to create separation on this guy.
Yeah. That's
Maybe
a really
the
good
most
pick.
agile player on the field.
That's a really good pick. Okay. I think I'm gonna take another player that I think you could take defensively, and this guy would have been near the top of my list. He might have been my number one pick just because of how iconic and how much I feel like it fits. At my tight end, I'm going to go Steve Rogers, Captain America.
Oh, you fucking bitch.
Where did you have him placed?
That was gonna be my Sam.
Yep,
I
told you.
my middle linebacker.
Because he's the leader of defense. He's going to be able to give those pregame speeches.
That's cool.
He's an absolute tank. That would have been my number one pick on defense. So I knew you had him marked. So let me get him at a Brock Bowers-esque tight end, if you would. Steve Rogers as my tight end.
I actually think there's a better tight end that you could have went with, but all right.
Yeah, we'll hear it at the end.
I'm not gonna pick him now.
Mm-hmm.
I think this player I'm picking, this is more of a best player available type situation.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go now before you snag him. Just trying to think what position I want him at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, I'm going cornerback 2. Give me Quicksilver.
Good one.
The next speedster. The speedster of Marvel.
Good one. I have so many fun picks on defense I can't wait to talk about once we're done that I know you didn't think of, but that's a really good pick. That was a guy that I had high on my list. Let me delete Quicksilver. I'm gonna take my center because I don't want you to get him anywhere else. He's not really an edge rusher. He's more of like a defensive end type of thing, more D tackle. I'm going to go Juggernaut as my center. I need to beef up my offensive line. You obviously have the Hulk and the thing. I need to be able to block those guys. So give me Juggernaut at my center position, a guy that is going to put his head down and run through you. So
I'm going to take my player I thought you would take at tight end. But I will take him. I will take him as my Sam. Mm-hmm. Be my outside linebacker, rushing off the edge, dropping coverage. My strong side linebacker. Give me Thor.
Yeah, I had Thor as an outside linebacker for.
Give me Thor
for my defense.
Give me Clay Matthews.
Yeah, that's a really good one. That's a good one. It's a good one. I really wanted him. Okay. I think I'm gonna wait on. I have my wide receiver. I have 2 wide receivers and 3 offensive linemen to go. I think I'm gonna take my second wide receiver, and he's more so gonna be my slot. And this is a really fun one that I really like. Give me Nightcrawler. Give me my slot receiver, 5'9" type of guy. I'm looking at this type of comparison as a. Maybe like a prime Wes Welker-esque, you could say. Real small guy, going to be able to teleport around the field if you would. Real nifty, shifty, in and out of cuts. Give me Nightcrawler as my slot receiver.
Okay.
What do you have? Let me see. What do you have left? You have 2 edges.
I'm going to switch Will. I'm going to put slot corner.
Yeah, on the fly.
We're going to be running nickel.
Okay change to make. I will allow it.
Going to be running a nickel defense here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what did you pick? You have 1 receiver left, and then you have guards. Okay. Mainly offensive line.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of big guys that need to be took.
Okay. At edge, give me Bane.
Good one.
Another brute.
Good one.
A little more agile, a little smaller than Hulk and Thing. I mean, at least in the movies and some of the animations and he gets pretty big at some points in the comics, but give me Edge.
Wish I had my absolute Batman comic on hand so I could show the absolute Bane to how fucking ridiculous that is. That's a good pick. That's a guy. I actually didn't have Bane marked down, but that's a really good pick. I am going to. You have You have a linebacker, an edge, and a safety. Do I want to go with my next receiver? Yeah. And this is a fun one. This is another one where I just think it fits. Give me my A.J. Brown at receiver, and that's going to be Mr. Black Panther.
That's racist. Fuck, I wanted him on my team. That was my slot cornerback.
Yep.
That's racist, though. You can't do that. You forfeit the pick.
How is that racist?
A.J. Brown, really?
I'm saying the mold of player. He's a beefy guy. You know what I mean? He's gonna be physical at the line of scrimmage. You're not gonna be able to press this guy. Incredibly fast, incredibly strong. I got Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown, and Wes Welker as my receiving core. I'm fucking with it. So, and I knew he's a safety-S type of guy, potential linebacker, where I'm like, give me him at receiver.
I got you. Okay. Let's do this. Slot corner. What'd you say about him? That you're not, stocky, not going to be able to press him.
Physical.
Give me Wolverine at slot corner.
That's a good one. Now, the only thing about him, he's a small guy.
That's fine.
Small.
He's in the slot. He's in the slot.
That's fair.
He's gonna get real physical with you. Good luck getting off the line of scrimmage.
I mean, this is
he can jump too.
Yeah,
he can jump. He's a Wolverine. Height don't matter for him.
This is a guy that takes on your defensive tackle in the comics, so a receiver shouldn't be much. Yeah, I shouldn't be giving you praise, but it's a good pick. You know where I actually had him on my rankings? I had him as a defensive end when I was making this because he goes up against so much people that are bigger than him.
Maybe I decide to blitz him out the slot.
Yeah, I'm like he's a guy,
but he's agile though. He's still quick. He's still fast.
Yeah,
I don't expect to be having him follow a receiver around the field. Yeah, but in that intermediate, good luck.
For my next offensive tackle, I have two offensive guards and offensive tackles. So a little bit of boring picks, but I'm going to go with a guy that can adjust his size. A guy that would eat your team, if you would. A destroyer. He might destroy your team. The destroyer of worlds. Give me Galactus.
What the fuck?
Yep.
What? That's a crazy pick.
How is that a crazy? He can adjust his height.
That's like you're picking like omnipotent characters now. Like that's.
But in my mind,
all right, give me the one above all next.
No, give
me God of the universe.
He's in this.
I'd say he's higher than a superhero. Like he's like. I don't know. I feel like he's too powerful.
I could adjust it if you feel like it.
Go ahead. You could do it.
Because in my mind,
we'll let all our viewers decide this.
In my mind, I wasn't like, oh, he's gonna be a bigger and eat the field. It's just like he can.
Well,
adjust his
nerfed.
Height.
Then he gets nerfed.
Yeah. He's nerfed. Like he's a 6'5" offensive tackle that's really strong. That's his thing.
Okay.
Essentially.
Cool. All right.
Because he can adjust his height.
All right. I'm saving my last pick for last. I think it's a really good pick. Mm-hmm. My middle linebacker. I need somebody smart. I need somebody fast. I need a beast, and that's who I'm going. Give me the beast from the X-Men verse.
That's a good one.
Former scientist.
Yep.
Sure tackler. He's gonna get the guys. He's gonna get the guys lined up in the spots they need to be.
Yep, I had him as I had him at a lot of different potential positions. He's flexible. Okay, I'm gonna take an offensive guard here. Give me Colossal.
All right. At my edge, give me fucking Darkseid.
Okay. You know what? I'll let you have it.
You let me have it. You with Galactus.
Galactus.
I'm going Darkseid.
Can go at it. Yeah, I'll give it to you. Yeah, that's fair.
You also went Thanos. I'd say all my guys are like superhero level.
Yeah.
Obviously, Superman is Superman, but
Yeah.
You know what? Fuck it. Give me the Living Tribunal at edge.
Right. Motherfucker. Dude. Okay.
Yeah. Darkseid at edge. My free safety. You're gonna like this one. You're gonna like this one.
I'm gonna be honest here. There have been a lot of big people took. I have run out of offensive linemen, so I need to go find one last offensive lineman to be my offensive guard. I have a couple that I can think of off the top of my head that I think, you know what? All right, I'm going to do this because I took Thanos and Galactus, and obviously that feels a bit OP. I'm going to take another guy that can adjust his height and adjust his size. I'm going to take Ant-Man. I'm going to take Ant-Man at my offensive guard, and he is going to adjust his size to be a monster on the offensive line.
Hulk is punching a hole through that motherfucker's chest.
He's gonna be big. He's gonna adjust his size to match whatever Hulk needs. So give me Ant-Man at my offensive lineman. There's a little bit of a
Tony Stark
thing.
is 6'1". He is not seeing over that offensive line.
A little bit. I could have. Let's see. Who could I have picked? Let me check out some real bigger. I could have went like Man Thing or Red Hulk or this or that. But
Red Hulk would have been a good.
Abomination would have been a fun pick.
Abomination and Red Hulk would have been a good matchup.
Yeah. Fuck it.
At my free safety.
Let's see it. Let's see if we have similar thinking, because there's a lot of guys I have that are going to go undrafted. So let's see.
It's an interesting word you use there. Are you trying to guess it, or you want me to just say it?
No. Just go ahead. Just go ahead.
At my free safety, give me Wonder Woman.
Oh. Okay.
Give me a female.
I'm gonna be honest. It was tough to find where I wanted to put her. She didn't make it. She didn't make my cut for heroes that I had.
She's rangy. She will clock you. She's fast.
Yeah.
And we got to give power to women.
Yeah. That's a great.
Give me Wonder Woman.
And pick. So we'll quickly go through our teams before I go into some of my undrafteds. At my quarterback, Tony Stark, Iron Man. Running back, The Flash. Wide receiver 1, Silver Surfer. Wide receiver 2, Black Panther. Wide receiver 3, Nightcrawler. At my tight end, I have Captain America. And across my offensive line, I have Thanos, Colossal Juggernaut, Ant-Man, and Galactus.
I have Bane at edge, Hulk at D-tackle, The Thing at D-tackle, Darkseid at edge. I have Thor as my Sam. I have the Beast as my middle linebacker. I have my slot corner, Wolverine. Spider-Man and Quicksilver as cornerback 1 and 2. Superman at strong safety, and Wonder Woman at free safety.
Really good picks.
We're hitting. This defense is hitting.
Yeah. Here are some of my
Nightcrawler is getting laid out.
No. It's going to be tough to touch them, but some of my favorite picks that went undrafted on the defensive side of the ball. Edge rusher, Magic. Her flash step is going to be unblockable. She is going to be unblockable off that edge. Magic was one of the picks that I really wanted to take as my edge. At my corners, 2 of my corners and 2 of my safeties went undrafted during this round. And I was considering some of these guys on the offensive side of the ball. Cornerback 1, Reverse Flash. I just feel like that fits so good for a cornerback, literally in his name, Reverse Flash. He's just copying whatever they do, even though it's only 4 Flash, but that came to my mind. And this one fits so well with cornerback. I want to give you a description and see if you can. It's pretty easy. This guy literally learns his opponent's fighting style as they're fighting. Do you know who that is? There's only one hero in the comics who he can't copy, and that's Moon Knight, because of how hectic he is. Do you know who
He
I'm talking
learns
about?
it as they're fighting. Is it?
Yeah. He like copies their fighting style.
Is it? What's his name? Why am I blanking on his name?
He's in the MCU, or they're in the MCU, I guess I should say.
Oh, in the MCU? Oh, I was thinking of DC. No, I don't think I do.
Taskmaster. That's his whole thing, is he copies his opponent's fighting style. So I look at it as like, oh, he's a cornerback. He's just going to memorize your route pattern, and he's going to have you on lock. So
but
that would have
that's
been a fun one.
Still a human.
Yeah. No, it is limited. But that's why like it's supposed to be like lower level. Obviously, but I just thought that fits so well with the cornerback archetype.
I just think my players I picked, like I was just thinking like they all got to be super human, in my opinion. But
that's true.
Yeah, I get it. Their skills.
My two safeties that went undrafted, Doc Ock. Obviously, he has like hella arms. He can reach anywhere on the field. Mr. Fantastic, I didn't have marked down, but was a guy that I felt like could have fit at a lot of places.
He's also another one too, where he's like super, but he's like, I don't know, he's just he's not. He doesn't strike me as an athletic person.
Yeah, that's fair. And my last one,
I would have had him at receiver though.
Yeah, my last one at safety that went undrafted, Human Torch. I felt like a guy that would have came down. He would have been a hitter at safety. Let's say that.
That's true.
Human Torch was a guy that I would have.
Could have went Invisible Woman at free safety.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even see it.
Yeah, that's our superhero draft. Let us know what you guys think. This is another thing we're gonna have posted online for you guys to see, talk about, see what you think. And yeah, make sure to leave a like. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to rate us 5 stars. Be tuned in for the off season. We're gonna have a ton of great content coming out. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Peace.